Good morning, everybody. Mic check.
Scotty said, I'm watching at home in my nightshirt, making bacon the way it should be. I literally pictured you looking like Scrooge, not Scrooge, Scrooge, in his...
Like a nightgown shirt?
Yeah, like in Schitt's Creek when Johnny walks in the room before bed and he's wearing the nightgown shirt. And they call him Ebenezer, yeah, so that makes sense. I got to live out my Pinterest dreams last night. I went to a garden party. You ever been to a garden party?
I've been to a garden party?
Oh my God.
What am I, a Victorian era queen? No, I haven't been to a garden party.
I am. And it was with armoire. Although I started to realize that I say armoire, but everyone's very much like, I was looking to say armoire. Like they,
armoire?
Not that far.
Armoire.
But I'm like armoire. Like I'm
like a
from
drawer?
New Jersey. And they're like, armoire. Armoire? Armoire.
Thank you for the sub. I can't see who that was. I need to open up our chat, actually. T-Galore. Thank you very much.
Wait, no, Scotty. He said literally me. I have 5 nightshirts. They're the best. Got to get Tones one. I'm telling you right now. Are they long sleeve?
I can't do it.
Actually, you might love it.
I can't do it.
Scotty, can you send me a picture?
I mean, it's a dress, is it not?
Can you send me a picture in your 90s?
And listen, wear whatever you want. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear it. I don't think I could wear it.
I would. Really? Oh, no.
Oh, the testing. Okay, you know what I'm going to do from now on? I do have a separate account, like a Worst Anthony account. I can test things from there.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning and welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. My name is Anthony.
I'm Carla Marie.
And we do have a special guest on the show today, Carla Marie.
Yes, we have Chef Joel Gamoran.
Mm-hmm.
He is a local Seattle chef. He is the host of Homemade Live. It airs on PBS. We got to be guests on the show. He's a cookbook author. Oh, damn, I
should have brought the cookbook. Did he sign it for you?
No, and I want him to.
No. Oh, no. What a big weirdo you are. You forgot it. This was your one chance. This was like owning a violin yesterday and not bringing it for Sean Mackin. You know what's funny? What would it... Okay. I can't play the violin.
Mm-mm.
I can't cook. Okay.
Sneaker.
Do you think I could catch up to Sean's level of playing the violin or Joel's level of cooking first?
Cooking.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's at least something you've done before.
But there are more facets. Like, there are more things I would need to learn how to cook to get to Joel's level. Whereas the violin, I've just got to focus on the violin every day.
No, cooking.
I don't know.
Hundo P.
I'm not saying either is easy. I'm not saying I would get to either level before I died. I'm just saying if I focused on one, I think I would get to being a good violin player before being a good cook or chef.
I disagree, but you should try both and let me know how it goes.
No, I can't try both.
Okay.
I don't have enough time to try to be a world-class chef and a world-class violinist. Impossible.
We got a lot
whatever.
we got a lot to talk to before we get Joel on.
Other things on the show today. The Costa Rica trip is on sale today. We will talk about that. We have to also talk about separately our Egyptian travel pal.
Okay.
We can talk about that. That's a follow-up from Tuesday. Dining rooms are dead. And P.A. Marie, public address announcer Marie, on Sunday.
I'll just talk about it really quick.
Okay.
Sunday is the day that I am filling in at the Seattle Reign game for the regular announcer, Nikki. And I've never done this before. I've obviously spoken into a microphone. I've been at sporting events on camera. Yeah. But this is way different. I have a whole audio file to listen to of how to pronounce the players on each team.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have to announce them.
Well, is this, I mean, I would imagine, like, if it was hockey, it'd be very difficult. Are there a lot of international names on this team?
Not as many as hockey.
Okay.
But there are some. And
So it's not a bunch of, like, Jane Smiths.
no.
It's a shame. It would be a lot easier if it was.
It would be a lot easier. But let's see. What else do I have? My pronunciation. I have a sheet that has pronunciation as well, too, like how to phonetically say everyone's names. I haven't looked at this yet. So let's see. Claudia, that's easy. Let's see if there's
What's Claudia's last name?
Barnes.
Oh, okay.
Balzer.
Balzer?
Jordan Heitema. That is, what's his name? Julio Rodriguez's girlfriend.
Okay.
McLaren, Ziara. Vanderiot. Oh, boy. Emery, Adamus. Actually, we're good. Seattle Reign players, I'm good on.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, my God, I didn't realize who we're playing. Portland.
That's a big game.
I know.
That is like the game.
What do they got?
The Portland Road? No, what are the Thorns? Thorns.
Reina Rays. What a fun name.
Okay, well, are we going to go through rosters
I just wanted
here?
to make sure there's anything crazy. But yeah, so that's what I'll be doing Sunday. So I'll be like, now batting, but not now batting, you know?
You should at one point. When they come in, when they do subs, especially if the game's like out of hand. Let's say one team is up 5-0. Hopefully the Reign, right? If they bring in a sub, especially if the Thorn bring in a sub, you should do that.
Now batting.
In place of number 35, whatever her name is.
Okay.
Or just mess
up.
up.
In the penalty box.
Because you are going to have to announce the Thorn players, right?
Yeah.
Just mess up all their names on purpose.
I would like to continue to have this job.
No, you should say number 35 coming in, big dummy idiot for the Thorn.
Just go rogue.
Yes.
What I'm most excited about is that I get to sit my butt in a chair and read off a piece of paper. I don't have to worry about really what I look like at all. I am going to film some behind the scenes. But like,
you should look presentable.
I know, but like I don't have to have on-camera makeup.
No.
Which I tried.
But sometimes they do. Like John Sterling back in the day. Granted, he was a play-by-play guy for the Yankees, but they would put him on the camera every now and then.
They're not going to, but I am going to film a BTS. Behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay, so that is public address announcer Marie. That is this Sunday. If you're going to the Reign game, maybe take some like video clips of the public address.
The air.
Yeah. Just the sky. Joel is going to be on with us at 8:30. The Costa Rica trip is live today. And I do want to talk about our Egyptian travel pal. Okay. Now, if you weren't here on Tuesday, I talked about how, because I'm going to Japan at the end of this month, and I'll be there for a week, I've been following this guy. His name is Omar on Instagram. Okay. And Omar is traveling from Egypt to Japan without flying. Right? So rail, cars, and boats are all available to him.
And Anthony was showing me some videos after the show.
Yeah.
It's crazy what this guy does.
He posted this morning, I believe he's 120 days into his trip. So I had messaged him on Monday night saying, I'll be in Japan for the first week of July. If we're there at the same time and in the same city, I would love to buy you lunch. I've really enjoyed following your journey and have learned a lot. Safe travels.
Well, how cute.
Okay. And then we talked about him on Tuesday's show.
Yes.
So I told everyone, because I didn't have my phone on me at the time, I said, I'll post him to my story. That way you can follow him if you'd like. I did so. And then at 11:35 Tuesday morning, right? So 2.5 hours after our show, I get a message from Omar. It says, "Good morning, Anthony. Thank you so much for this kind and lovely message. I definitely got curious and watched your show stream on YouTube. Thanks for the shout out. And yes, definitely not going through North Korea." Which was Carla Marie's question, because she finally looked at a map of Asia and realized North Korea is there.
It's here. I see it on my little map skis.
Then he followed up and said, "The spirit of this mission and how it came about is my desire to see as much as possible from Asia, having never been anywhere there."
Wow.
And it's why I chose Japan, being the furthest away from where he is in Egypt. So he's zigzagging through the entire continent.
But not going to North Korea.
He does not plan on being in Japan until the spring of next year.
What?
He's going to be on the road or on the ground for, because you got to look, there's a lot of Russia, there's Mongolia.
He is a modern day Vespucci. What is this guy doing? Hold on. You are kidding me. He's got 365 days to get from there to there?
Well, he's probably going to go through Southeast Asia. He might hit India. There's a lot of places for him to go. He's currently in Kazakhstan.
Is he like a trust fund baby?
No, so,
Is he a prince?
and then he said, to answer your question on the show, there is a ferry from China to South Korea and another one from Japan. That is the plan. So he is not going to be going through North Korea. He wanted you to know he will not be doing that.
God. I wish that every time I hypothetically or whatever asked a question on the show, they got answered.
Yeah. He also said, because I followed up with him and I said, wow, can't wait to see the rest of the journey. If at any point you have enough Wi-Fi to do a call, we would love to have you on the show to share your story with our audience. Safe travels. He said, I'd be happy to. Let me text you in a few days. Wi-Fi should be good then. So we might get him on the show.
What's his name?
Omar.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah. So it's Omar dot
Sorry, Omar.
N-O-K. Omar, O-M-A-R dot N-O-K if you feel like following him. So that is the update from our Egyptian travel pal.
I wonder if he knows my Egyptian college. What is it called? College mates?
Classmate?
College classmate. It just
You could just say classmate.
no.
Rutgers classmate.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
I wonder if he knows them.
Like if they're friends?
Well, one of them is like a famous.
Oh, if he knows who he
fitness
is, not if
trainer.
they're friends.
Maybe be friends.
Whatever.
Egypt's not that big. Look at it.
I mean, compared
America's
to...
way bigger, and I know people here.
Get out. Show's over. We have to cancel everything.
I went to bed at like 1:30 a.m. Woke up at 6:20 a.m. when your alarm went off, and I just laid there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, giggles.
I will say, Carla Marie was doing a lot of scrolling last night when she should have been doing a lot of sleeping.
Why did I go to Instagram? I started Googling, because after Sean was telling us after the show, the REM cycle or whatever cycle it is for men is 90 minutes. So like you want to make sure your sleep.
And this was after the show.
Yeah. I was like, well, what is it for women? And everything I kept finding was the average human. I'm like, oh, so there is no answer for women's bodies.
Maybe it's the same.
It's not.
I didn't know you were a REM cycle specialist.
Well, I wanted
these
to know
days.
because I was going to set my alarm for the right time.
All right. The Costa Rica trip.
Okay.
It is on sale today. You'll get an email if you have signed up already. You will get an email the moment the sale goes live, which is 9:30 a.m. Pacific time.
And you could sign up at the link I just dropped.
Yeah, and you can still sign up right now. That way you get the link right away. And what we did was for, I think, people in Discord.
Yeah, I put
Right?
the link in Discord.
But there was also like the early bird special, the early bird special.
And it's still there. There's a link in Discord that will allow you to book the trip right now.
Yes.
But that's only for the 10 spots, I believe, the early bird.
And that's what I wanted to bring up because there are only 10 early bird spots available. So half of the spots that we have can be purchased for $200 less than the regular price. If you know you want to go, there's already one spot gone.
Yeah, so there's only 9 spots left.
Yes.
Somebody booked. Anthony doesn't know who it is.
I have no idea. Is it my mom?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it my Aunt Nuha?
No.
Is it my brother?
It's someone that you know, have met in real life.
Okay.
It is.
Hold on. I've met them in real life, and it's one person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to discount Jen and Lisa. Not discount, but I'm going to remove them
Yes.
because I have met them in person.
It's not like a family member or anything.
Okay. I'm gonna give you 2 people, Carla
Okay.
Marie. Fred or Claire?
No.
No, okay. Who do we got?
I'm so pumped because we got a Spanish speaker on this trip.
Felipe!
Felipe!
I did see that he was on Tuesday. He said he was gonna book, so that's awesome.
Felipe from Miami.
And we got ourselves a Spanish. We are going.
Not that our tour guide would speak both languages, but I get to just be like, Felipe, what does that mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't think he knows what he signed up for. So
That's fine.
Okay.
Felipe is Colombian, I believe, right? I think we found
he's
that
from
out.
Miami. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
well,
I'm kidding. I don't.
he's Floridian.
He's. I believe that is what he told us. Yes, I don't think he's in here right now though.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't see a message from Felipe yet. Okay, so
Wait, someone's name is Chopped Up Cucumber.
what? What are you talking about? Where do you see that?
Stop. Chopped up
Oh,
cucumber,
look at
redeemed
that.
hydrate.
Redeemed a. Is that Joel? Sounds like a chef name, you know?
It does.
Maybe he's chops up a cucumber very fast. I bet you we would.
Should I just drop the buy now thing?
Sure. Why not?
All right, I'll put it in here. You don't have to go to Discord. But we did make a Discord thanks to Run Like a Husky. I made a Discord chat for anyone interested or going on this trip.
And of course, if you have questions along the way, you can reach out to us, whether it's here in the chat, whether it's through our DMs, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Now, Carla, we have a couple minutes before we have to take our break and then bring in our guest. All right. And if you like food, you're going to want to be here. If you eat food, you're going to want to be here. Dining rooms are dead.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently. This is something you brought up.
Unfortunately, I don't have the website that I'm going to talk about this whole time, but I was reading an article yesterday about how dining rooms are either unused or new homes, they're not in existence at all. There is not a single dining room being built in new builds.
Well, if you came from an immigrant or a first generation family like I did, you probably had a dining room that you weren't allowed in. That's how I grew up.
I mean, we never had dinner anywhere else other than the dining room table or outside if it was the summer.
Yeah.
But now it's you have the open kitchen, so everyone sits at the island.
Okay, yeah.
Or there's the great room, which is just like the big living room, and like it goes into the kitchen. It's kind of like you're just everywhere. So any new home being built in America will not have a dining room, basically.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think if you have a regular home, if you have a mansion, have as many stupid rooms as you want, right? But if you have a regular home and you don't want a formal dining room, it is kind of a waste of space.
Right.
Right. But I also think here's the caveat. I'm trying to be more conscious about sitting at the dining table. Right? We don't have a dining room. We have an open floor plan on the first floor. But I'm trying to be more conscious about not sitting in front of the TV and eating. Like sitting at the what you would call the dining room table.
The article talks about how a lot of people now are like almost like recluses. And if you live with roommates, which a lot of people do because it's hard to pay for things, that you're either sitting at your like coffee table eating because it's not like a family sitting down having dinner, or people are eating in their bedrooms. And I was like, nope,
stop it.
we're not doing that.
Don't eat in your bedroom if you have any other option.
I love the article said that the dining room is like the appendix. It once served a purpose and it no longer does. And then it says the apex predator to the dining room is the great room, which is the combined living room and kitchen. Like there is no reason anyone, if you have a normal size home, like you said, would want a dining room. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I agree. Because if you're just closed off into a dining room, how old, like even my parents' house, it's not closed off, the dining room. So, it's a separate room, but the idea of being like in a closed off room is weird.
Could you make the argument, though, that as a society, we should be protecting the dining room? I understand that the space, if you don't have it, just isn't, that doesn't make sense for you. But I have found, ever since my parents remodeled their home and I go back to New Jersey, if it's not a formal sit-down thing now in the part of the first floor that would be considered the dining room, if it's just standing or sitting at the kitchen island, it's not the same. The conversations aren't the same. People are in and out. It's not a sit-down function where you're designating time to sit with your family.
But I think as the person whoever it is in your family is the one cooking in the kitchen, they must feel less isolated now.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need to have 4 walls to the dining room, if that makes sense. But should we be protecting that dining isolation, if you will?
Like a dinner club room, we should start calling it.
Everyone sits down at the same time. You put your phones down, because I feel like if you're at a island, right, you're more likely to have your phone out or someone's going in and out of the room. Like part of me wants to go old school and say, no, let's have a dinner time and make sure that everyone is sitting around the table talking about their day. Maybe that's what we need.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll just put a one of those like foldable walls around our dining room table.
But then the minimalist part of me is like, well, why do I need a dining room? This space is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I'm only going to use it once a day. Because breakfast and lunch, you don't need to eat in a formal setting. You're not supposed to, really, I feel like.
Well, in commercials, cereal commercials, everyone's at the same table.
I always felt like my family was broken growing up because I don't think there was ever a non-weekend where my family ate breakfast together. Because normally my brothers and I were waking up 5 minutes before school, throwing on sweatpants and going. And then I don't know what the hell my parents did when we were gone. Probably went back to
breakfast.
bed.
A full buffet.
But let's see what the chat says.
By the way, Felipe's in here now. Felipe, we announced that you are coming on our trip, by the way.
Also, I told everyone you were Colombian because I think that's what you told us when we were in Miami, but I don't remember.
I said you were Floridian. By the way, everyone's streak got ruined because you did a test stream.
Okay, I get it.
That's what's happening?
I get it. Some people were in there.
Can you cancel it and erase it?
I cannot. Fred the Mailman said life was better with dining rooms. It is more of an old school feel.
There's no way that would happen in our house, though.
No, and that's what, like you were saying, modern spaces are not being built with dining rooms. And maybe I figured it out. Okay. Big real estate is trying to make us believe we don't need dining rooms so that they can sell us less space for the same price as they would have sold us for a home with a dining room.
It's not really less space because these regular size homes have the space for it.
I don't know. If you tried to break your townhome that you purchased in 2019, if you tried to,
No, I don't have a regular size home.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think they're trying to like sell us less rooms
That's fair.
for the same money or more money actually than they used to sell us when homes did have dining rooms.
Okay.
It's all a racket by big real estate.
Big construction.
Big construction.
All right. I think it's time to take a break.
All right. We do have our guest. Joel Gamoran is, I think he's actually here. So we are going to take a break. We'll come back. Joel will be on with us. And like I said, if you eat food, you're going to want to be here. Okay, we are going to cancel this game. It should not have
Sorry.
started that fast. Sorry, everybody. But we'll do a little bit of...
Look at everyone still playing this one. Sorry. Bye.
All right. Welcome back to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. This scene looks a little different because we have our guest with us right now.
What's up?
It is
Carla
the
Marie?
one, the only Chef Joel Gamoran.
Woo! There we go.
He just asked me, "You have a cat at home?" We have 4.
Why? That's
It's a great
this-
question. That's
well,
a great question.
This is my bone I have to pick with you. You went to the CatCon event here in Seattle.
Yeah.
You took your son.
Yeah.
Because he loves cats.
Loves cats.
And you basically said that you hate cats.
I hate cats.
And I'm not okay with that. Look at all these, like we have our little cat.
Oh my god. So you're a cat lady.
Oh, she is...
Excuse me.
No,
Cool
you're-
cat
you're-
mom. How come I get to be crazy cat lady and guys are cat dads?
Just I don't know a cat dad, and if I did, they'd be a crazy cat person to me. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a cool cat mom in your mind and a cat lady? Besides, like
Branding.
branding.
100%. Cat lady is something that it's just a cats get a negative connotation, but they're actually super cool. I never had cats growing up.
I've actually met a couple of cool cats, but for the most part, I'm just scared they're gonna just claw my eye out.
They're not. Also, it sounds like you were
Yes,
just in
they
the
are.
50s. I met a bunch of cool cats.
I know that was
Got
gonna.
some cool cats and some jive turkeys. And...
But we're gonna have to get one because my 3-year-old is borderline. Like he acts like a cat.
Oh my God, I love it.
You would love him, Carla. Really, yeah. He is like he like
have room.
purrs and curls up, and like I'm like, where are you even looking at? Like, what's your reference for this?
Where
We
are you
don't have
learning
a
this?
cat. Like he doesn't watch YouTube. Like where are you learning how to be a cat?
That's incredible.
I
But
know.
yeah, I mean, anytime you want to come over, you just have to cook dinner because it's not going to be us.
I'm actually gonna take you up on this.
Okay.
So
That'll be a fun video.
we're going to get into kind of
The real
how
reason.
you ended up, not only as a chef, but doing all the things that you were doing. But we had a guest on yesterday.
Yeah.
His name is Sean Mack, and he's the violinist from Yellow Card.
Cool.
And I thought to myself this morning, Sean is at like the pinnacle of his craft, which is playing the violin. You, as a chef, are at like the pinnacle of your craft. And I started to wonder, what could I become faster? Could I learn the violin to play it professionally, or could I learn cooking to do that professionally? Which one? And Carla Marie claims that it would actually be faster for me to learn how to cook
Because he's done
professionally.
it before. He's cooked
But
something before.
I think there are more variables to what you do than to playing an instrument, right? Like if I just focused on the violin every day, I could eventually get good at it. But you have to know all the different foods, how they pair, how you cook each one of them, how they pair together.
That's a good question.
It's so interesting to see how you think about it. Like I'm like fascinated that that's how you think about it. Let me ask you a question
Yes.
to both of you guys. Best piece of food you've ever eaten, like when you think about it, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Like I don't think restaurant. Just like when you think about food.
Am I going to chicken parm again?
You can, yeah.
I think
Go
so.
chicken parm. Okay, so who made that chicken parm?
Probably my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She a chef?
No.
Okay. So there's bottom line right there. The best food in the world is not made by chefs.
Yeah.
It's made by everyday people. So
Yeah.
the best violin music in the world is definitely by professional
Professional-
violinists. So
professionals,
like
yeah.
you can bust out a dish today, Anthony, that I think would just crush. Which is like so
I
you
think
can never
you
do
are
that.
overestimating my
No,
ability.
You don't try.
I also don't have the patience, which would lead me to be terrible at both the violin
Yeah.
and at cooking. But you bring up a good point that, you know, some of the best food we've had probably comes from our family or someone we know in our lives.
Yeah.
Right? I think your next show
Okay. Oh God.
should be just traveling the world and going to like grandma's and mom's and grandpa's kitchens
Yeah.
and just
that.
I mean, that's
exploring.
Anthony Bourdain, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Anthony
true,
Bourdain.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
true.
that show is a little bit like it'd be hard to sell these days. They're like, fly me around the world and just let me insert myself in people's family dinners. But like, it is. I mean, that's a dream job. That would be
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because I do think that's where the best food is, and it's so random. But you also know family dinners can get awkward.
Yes.
That's when you really need to be rolling because that would be come
Dude.
over. I got you covered.
That's the best part about being a chef, and like especially during the holidays, like I'm kind of like out doing my own thing. Like I'm avoiding all the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone else is being awkward and whatever. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have to like baste the turkey. I don't have to baste the turkey.
Just gotta look at
I'm
it for a
just
little
just
bit.
gonna look
You
at
know
it.
what?
I just gotta
This-
milk it.
this
Yeah.
is- No, that is
So-
a great out, actually. Maybe I will start cooking at family events.
So explain how you got into cooking as a profession.
Okay. So I was around 12 and my parents divorced, and my mom was a huge cook, and she stopped cooking, right? And we had a big family, and went into like a little bit of a depression, and realized when I cooked, and we all came back around the table. So all my siblings, and I'm like, wow, okay, like there's a super big power into this. I love people. I love when my friends came over. So for prom, I cooked instead of going out to prom, and all my friends came to my house, and I love this feeling of people coming to me and me hosting and this vibe. So I decided I wanted to be a professional chef.
And real quick, what was little Joel cooking?
Disgusting shit. Experimenting, it's cooking to me at that age was like Legos. It's like a recipe is like looking at the box and saying, I'm going to make the spaceship. But you can also take all the pieces and make your own thing. Oh, yeah. And so I would always make the spaceship. And then I'd say, well, I have this shrimp and corn, and I'd try something. And whatever I tried was really gross. Okay. I made my dad throw up. I've done there's a lot of
like legitimately?
Yeah, like legitimately. I've had, we could have a whole session about all the times I screwed up my kitchen. So but that's how you learn, and that's just like anything, right? And so anyways, I wanted to become a chef. I was a really competitive tennis player, so I went to the University of Connecticut, UConn, to play tennis. Blew out my hip, and I was just all cooking all the time. But the problem was they didn't have a cooking program. So I'm like, shit, I'm here on a scholarship. I'm here playing, but I'm not, there's nowhere to learn. So I had to appeal to them to be the first culinary management major in the history of UConn.
No way.
Do they have more now, or?
Nope, I'm the one and only, baby. One and
That's
only.
awesome.
On my diploma, the dean, it took me 2 years. Yeah. So
That's
awesome.
impressive.
Yeah, it was cool.
So what kinds of things did you add to your program to make that possible?
It's interesting. I went to chefs, like you guys know Tom Douglas here.
Yeah.
So I went to Tom Douglas, and I'm like, hey, here's all the classes that UConn offers. Can you circle which ones matter? And he's like, accounting, nutrition, blah, blah, blah. So it was like, I got a accredited person like Tom.
Yeah.
And then the dean was like, this seems legit. You go for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can. So I went to Rutgers. You can do that, but it is a grueling process to get it approved.
Yes.
And which is wild that you can just say, I don't like the 800 majors you offer.
I know. It's a personalized major. And I think it's your first key, if anyone's doing that, to being like, I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
Like, I like to do things a little bit differently or see things a little bit differently. And I didn't know that at the time, but I was just, looking back, I'm like, I like to do my own thing.
And you're not only doing your own thing in like a rebellious way, you're doing it within the parameters.
Yeah, totally.
And with kind of expert input as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did that, and bottom line is I went to the best culinary school in the world, Culinary Institute of America. I went to cooked in Italy, and I became like a professional young chef. Went to restaurants and hated it.
Really?
So what is that like then? You're like, I just studied all this. This is the one thing I want to do, and I hate it.
I know. And I spent a lot of money on all that. And so it was depressive episode number 2. Like, what am I doing with my life? What did I just do? I thought I liked this. I thought I'm wrong.
And at what age did you have this revelation?
23.
Okay.
Early 20. I know exactly the moment. Yeah, I know exactly
when was the moment?
I came home from San Francisco. I was cooking in a bunch of kitchens. I hated them. I was making no money. I was working on all the holidays. All my friends were going out. It was you're working when everyone else is out. It looks sexy, the restaurant business. It is so unsexy on every level. And I came home and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And my dad's like, well, what do you really want to do? And I was working at this salmon stand in San Francisco, slinging sandwiches. And I loved it. For some reason, I loved that, but I hate the restaurant. And I realized that I was talking to people while I was making these sandwiches. They were public at the farmer's market. And I'm like, there's something about like food and people. It has to have the people thing. And I'm like, I think I'd be good on TV. And I was like 23, and at 23, you guys know, like to say I want to be a famous podcaster is a ballsy, scary thing to say. And if you're 23 listening to this, you are qualified to go and try and do your thing. And he's like, well, what's one step you've taken towards that idea? And I'm like, I haven't taken one. I don't know anyone in TV. I don't know any. And so that's when I discovered Sur La Table, which is this big company. And I became their head chef eventually and got noticed, and the rest was history.
But how did you go from Sur La Table to...
Because you streamed
to my business now?
Yeah.
So I was head chef of Sur La Table, and when we were in Sur La Table, if you've ever been to a Sur La Table, it's a kitchen retail store where they sell pots and pans. Cool model.
Yeah.
Do they still have one in the market?
Yeah.
They do,
totally.
right? Okay.
But their model is cool. You walk in, you buy a pot. But that's usually all you bought. But they added cooking classes to the back of their store. Why this is genius. Most people spend $50 when they walk into a store, but when you take a cooking class, you spend like $250. The chef, you learn something, you probably use this spatula. Okay. It's like going to a yoga class and they're like, buy this mat. You're like, okay, done. Like, and so that's not scalable. It's only like 16 people in a room. Well, then COVID hit, and what I saw was virtual cooking. And I'm like, I can do this. And so I started a company called Homemade where we would cook and we would bring product to life, and we're able to kind of inspire people to buy it.
I don't think I realized that. I thought you were streaming before COVID. I didn't realize all of this came out of that.
This is COVID, dude. I was on TV doing linear, like doing all the normal TV, living in New York, doing the normal stuff, and just thinking I was going to be the next Bobby Flay. And I was on track to do that.
Bobby Flay hates us, by the way.
Why? Wait, why? That's hysterical.
So he does not hate us.
No.
The show that we came from originally in New York, you're probably familiar with it being
I know about you guys. Of
Elvis
course,
Duran in
you
the
guys are
Morning
big deals. But
So-
I know.
So Bobby and Elvis became friends off the air, and he would then have Bobby on the air pretty often.
Okay.
And when we started our show here, keep in mind, we were brand new, never had hosted a show before in our lives.
It was almost like you at 23 being like, I'm going to, like, I was 28 and we just, okay, we're hosting our show. Yeah.
And by chance, Bobby Flay was visiting Elvis's studio the day that we were live. And Elvis, being like the proud radio dad that we have, played our first break on Z100. And Bobby had some, like, he was trying to be funny, but it ended up being just like it sounded like a very rude
they sound
comment.
awful. I don't think that show's going to last.
But he did
not.
But he did also apologize
But
to
then
us.
I guess he realized like how much of a dick he sounded. He sent us an email. Like, we didn't email, and he sent us an apology email. So that's why it's like.
Did you guys tell Elvis that you guys felt bad about it?
Oh,
No, we thought it was funny.
I'm just wondering, did he get a bug in his ear from anyone, or do you think he came up with it by himself?
He either got a response on social or saw the text line on Elvis's show, maybe. And then just
dick move.
Hurt himself, and it was like, and he even said to us, because I think we eventually saw him in person, and he said, "You know what? I remember when I first started, I was not what I am today, and I thought to myself, like, how would I have felt? If someone said that to me on this platform."
Yes.
So he actually has been very nice to us.
He's also tried. My mom makes this thing called pumpkin squares, and he came up one day at Elvis's show, and we had them. There was Thanksgiving, and he tried them. He's like, "This is so good. Like, can I get the recipe?" I was like, "How much we talking?" Like,
I love it.
I don't think I ever gave it to him, but yeah. So
tell me you told your mom that. That's
he talked about it on the air. He was like, Carla Marie's mom's pumpkin squares.
Stop.
And she was like, so yeah, actually, I would say probably that's the best thing I've ever had. Take it back. That
it is critically acclaimed.
Yes. But yeah, so that's our connection to Bobby Flay.
Wow.
So far, you've been way nicer to us.
Wow. I love it.
Big cat guy though.
Yeah, huge cat guy, Nacho or whatever it's called.
Well, yeah, that's it. He has a cat food line.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah,
he's.
You know what? One day you're gonna.
He's a proud cat dad, or whatever you call him. Not a creepy cat person.
You know what? Maybe I like Bobby Flay better now that I think about it.
So, what is it like living in the TV or the broadcast space of cooking?
Yeah,
it's got to be different than obviously working in restaurants and whatnot. How is it more difficult to present your product to a digital audience or to an audience through a screen?
I think for me, it's more my home run. And I think the reps that I did teaching at Sur La Table in front of people sometimes it was 2 people, sometimes it was 200 people.
Damn.
But it was like real time. I can see I'm losing them when I talk about this, or I'm going too deep into that.
That's cool, actually.
And so I'm learning how to engage and how to interact. And then I would have like these producers, because you're in New York and they're out on like a date night, and they're like the producer of the Today Show, or they're the producer of GMA. And they take my cooking class. They're like, "You're really good." And I'm like, "Thank you." They're like, "Would you ever want to come on?" I'm like, "Is that a joke?"
Of course.
Yes. So then you go on and you start to understand, okay, how do you do this in 3 minutes? And how do you do this in 5 minutes? And
it's all pre-made, popping out of the oven.
Yeah, but it's like,
I know.
But I totally, hot pocket, done. But what you realize is that when you're doing these 5-minute segments, no one gives a shit about the cooking. It is about the energy you have with the hosts.
Yes.
And when you try and teach in 5 minutes, it's insane. But if you try and connect in 5 minutes, it's really great. And so that's what I learned about linear. And that really translated as digital started to pick up. But I think my niche in digital is the live.
Yeah.
I think that I can hold attention. I think that I can,
yeah.
but I don't think I can compete. I'm not even, and I don't try to, and it's really hard for me to understand with like the super short form, high cut, cooking videos where it's
Yeah.
like hands and pans. Like my hands look like Shrek. My personality doesn't come through.
But that's your space.
It's a
Those
niche,
people
yeah.
can't do what you do.
That's right.
That's why they do
and
that.
So that's why I started a company around live streaming because I'm like, this is my core competency.
And with those videos, the top down like recipe videos,
Yeah.
there isn't a personality there.
No,
Right? You're watching that video because of the ASMR
yeah,
portion
but
of
they
it,
perform, right? They
Or,
perform.
Yeah, or you're actually interested in a recipe. You're like,
Right.
well, let's see if it's a quick recipe that I can figure out.
Right.
But with what you do, it's a community and it's a connection, and
Yes.
even though it's one to many when you're viewing it, much like this Twitch chat and this Twitch community, it's one to one.
Yes.
So people can
Yes.
ask you a question in the moment.
I wonder if there's a comp in radio, like to what I'm talking about.
It's radio at its best is actually very much what you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? It's
Radio
having open conversations with a huge community centered around sports or music
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think radio at its worst is those other videos you're talking about, where the personality is removed, boom, boom, chopped
But what
up.
are those? I mean, you're saying like just a lift from like what is that?
So you have a lot of shows now in radio that are pre-produced and scripted and not live at all. They're positioned as live and they're positioned as having real people, but they're so regimented and overproduced.
Yeah.
That there is no back and forth with the community. But as Elvis's show, like the show we grew up in, I mean, that is live 4 hours straight every morning.
I love that.
And anyone can call in, anyone can text in. There's guests almost every day. There's
Yeah.
a huge community in the studio as
Yes.
well, right? There's about when we were
love
there,
that.
there was I think 17 full and part-time employees
It's
on
not that
one
big
show.
anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
that big. It's not.
No,
It's
I
probably
mean, it's
a
just-
dozen now.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
fucking AI.
I mean, right? I don't even know who
Well, we left.
we left. So we were
There's
replaced. Well,
two
not
of 'em.
replaced, but yeah.
Anyway, but I think at its best, what you do is the best parts of radio, right? You're telling stories, you're engaging with the community,
Yeah.
you're doing something live.
You're
Yeah.
making people feel something.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
connection.
important.
Yeah. And you guys do that so well.
And that's one of the reasons we love live streaming as well, very similar to what you do, is it's not necessarily just about us talking, editing, and putting content up online. It's about, Z from NYC or Lenny from Queens
Yes.
or Felipe in Miami,
Yes.
Florida, or any of the people that you see on your screen
Yes.
jumping in here and being part of the conversation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so your live stream though
Yeah.
goes then to you have a PBS show.
Yeah.
This is when we jump into your timeline now.
Yeah, so the live stream built up a big audience, just like you guys were talking about with Felipe and everyone else, right? This is our audience. So they would come to our classes. We have a mission. We believe everyone should be able to learn to cook for free. So all of our live streams are free,
Cool.
but we work with brands to sponsor them. And they don't just do like pre-roll or post-roll. They give us their olive oil brand. And for
That's
45
great.
minutes, we cook pasta with their olive oil and talk about it. So it's like sur la table. It's like we're teaching people how to go, whatever. So that led to a huge audience. We've had over 4 million people take cooking classes with us live, which is awesome.
That's
and so
intense.
we got this opportunity with PBS.
4 million people since when did you-
Inception, since 2020.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so so PBS is we see what's happening and let's develop something together. And we're done. And so the idea was let's have a cooking talk show, which is all my core competencies. It's I want other people there. I'm better with people, not alone. I want live, sur la table. I want an audience, which I've never had.
It was such a fun vibe.
Right? I know. And I want to talk about how we landed on you guys because it was a good story.
Oh, I would love to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. and so last year we produced these first 10 episodes for PBS, and it's so different than PBS. When you think about PBS, you think about Sesame Street, and you think about
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys watch that doc?
Yeah. Oh no.
It
What?
just came out on Netflix. It's a documentary about Reading Rainbow.
Is it bad?
It's so good.
Oh
Okay,
no, I
thank
thought you were
God.
about to tell me it was the Nickelodeon.
No, oh god, that was bad. Jesus, I
Something
watched
has
that.
to be
Yeah.
saved from our youth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
I can't
something.
wait. Gonna watch
Gushers,
that.
just gushers. You like that drop? That was a deep cut.
Gushers is great.
Gushers were great. What was your go-to school lunch snack? I just got to ask that. Gushers?
If it was something my parents were purchasing from the store,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Gushers.
Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos.
But if it
Can
was
we
something...
make homemade Dunkaroos?
Done.
And homemade Gushers?
Dunkaroos.
Yeah,
I don't
Dunkaroos
know how to
easy.
do Gushers.
The other thing, though, and this is something anyone could, I think, make at home. If I would buy it at school, it was a Chipwich.
Chipwich.
Chipwich
Dude, I haven't
was-
said Chipwich in like 25 years.
I had at least 4 of those a week.
How do you look so great?
Well, he was 8.
I ran around a lot.
Fair. He had recess.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, someone said,
I love
Martha
it.
in the chat said fruit by the foot.
Great.
That's
call.
another good one.
And fruit roll-ups. I'll just sit here all day talking about it.
French bread pizza is another one.
What was interesting is like back at least
This is-
I think I'm older than you guys, but like in the 90s growing up, it was all sugar-free stuff. So it was like Oreos, but like sugar-free Oreos.
With aspartame.
With aspartame. It's just cancer. With cancer. Like,
You don't have sugar, but.
yeah, but good luck in 40 years. Oh,
Okay,
God.
so you have the
so we
audience.
have the show.
You're doing the show, which, by the way, just got picked up for season 2.
Yep, and we're going to do
Congrats.
52 more episodes next year.
52.
Yeah,
So
we're
this is going
just-
to be a weekly show?
Guys, we are creating the Tonight Show of cooking. Like I
Oh my
say that
God.
like, not laughing. Like we are doing that. We're doing it here in Seattle.
Love it.
And so anyway, so I called up my friend who is at the Tonight Show, and he's Jimmy Fallon's producer, like one of 5
Brett.
guys, Brett. And I go, hey man, I'm doing this PBS show. In my mind, I'm like, I just need advice. And I'm like, this is last summer during the strike, and I'm like, do you know anyone that would be interested? Like in Seattle, you guys know it's like it's not production world.
Yeah, it's hard to get
There's a
people.
great community, but it's small and
No.
mighty. And he's like, dude, we're on strike. And I'm like, he's like, I'll do it. And I'm like,
Like, what a time.
what?
And he's able to do that because it's different with PBS, right? Like PBS kind of wasn't part of
Well, he
the
was
strike or something.
essentially not fired, but like he's like on the back burner. They
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen after this. Like the strike taking a year, 2 years. So we went to Jimmy Fallon's people, whatever hot dog, it's electric hot dog, and he said, "Are you guys cool if I take this on?" And they were so cool, and
That's
they said
awesome.
yes. And so he became our director, and so he's flown to Seattle, and because of him, we get these amazing celebrities.
Yeah, he's got that Rolodex.
He's got that Rolodex, but we were like, man, we need some local Seattle people, and like we want some love.
Normal,
And
not
then
celebrity.
yeah, we want some psychos that we get. And so we were looking hard, like we were really digging, and we were like, we really need to like mix it up. Like we want people who can hang, who can do this live thing and whatever. And he showed me Carla Marie and Anthony, and I looked at you guys, and I listened to like 4 shows like over the course of a week. And I showed my wife, and like I'm like, I don't like, what do you guys like? I think they're so funny. And like I looked into your story, how you guys started dating and this whole thing, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so Brett was like, I just talked to them. They're like the coolest, nicest people.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, let's just do it. Like I'm so in. Like this is so fun. And like
I
you
love
guys
that you
showed
said
up.
that. Only
Yeah.
because every time I hang up the phone with a new person, I always think to myself, that person hated me. So I'm glad
We
that-
all think that.
I'm
We all
glad
think that.
But sorry, I cut you off.
No, Brett loved you. He
Okay,
loved
great.
you.
Oh my
And
God.
so you guys came in and we had a ball. It was one of our favorite episodes.
so fun.
We held
I just
whipped.
posted it today.
You did?
It was the marshmallow.
Over your head, which I knew I was going to do, which is like a 50% failure rate.
I did not know
Just
this.
almost destroyed you.
man.
I know you wanted
Can we do it again then? Because
You
that's
wanted it.
guaranteed to drop.
But you guys set the bar. I mean, the first season, the guests were awesome. We had Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah.
We had
Was it Reggie Bush there? or-
Reggie Bush, Nigel Barker from, yeah. I mean, there was some amazing. And then this year we've got Allie Love from Peloton.
Oh.
We've got.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's great. Katie Couric is coming.
What?
I
Wait,
know.
that means they're going to be here? Do
Yes,
you
in
need
Seattle.
showrunners?
I need you to come and say hi and support. Yeah.
Oh, I could be like, you know how there's an audience person that like is the comedian for the audience and pumps them up?
Actually, Carla Marie, you would crush that. You like that. There's a name for that. It's like audience fluffer or something.
Something like that. That's what I was going to say.
Hey,
love
listen,
it.
let me know when you're filming. I would love to be there. I'll do it.
Okay.
No,
done.
and for anyone that's in Seattle or traveling
Yes.
to Seattle,
Oh, yeah, they can
being in that crowd, I think, and I don't know if people haven't watched it, obviously they haven't seen it, but the way that you set up the crowd, the audience, is also unique because they are surrounding the table.
And they're
like,
super
Yes.
close.
3/4 of the
Yes.
table, and
Yes.
they're. I mean, you're within arm's reach.
Yeah, some of them get to eat the food. We
Yeah.
just slide it over, and we kind of wanted to make it feel like your buddies are like it's back in prom days. Like your
Yeah.
buddies are over and they're hanging out around the counter. So I want to know from your guys' side because I've not asked one guest this, but like I mean, when you got into the experience, was it a good experience for
Oh,
you?
absolutely.
We were like, this is so cool.
Really?
Like, so
I
cool.
Well, you guys do so many events and huge things, and so I didn't know.
So here's what
Yeah,
I'll say: your team
Oh my God, they're
was incredible.
so good.
Amazing.
Like the most hospitable team, and we've never had like a terrible team that we've worked with, but super hospitable. The crowd energy was great. You're one of the best hosts
Yeah,
that
it's
we've
so, it
ever
was so easy to
seen
make.
you.
live. For
Thank
real.
you.
Like,
Wow.
we
You
met
really are
you.
good.
We never did a Zoom or anything prior. We
no.
met you like
In the green room,
10
yeah,
minutes. Yeah. It was
But really, the whole experience.
But that's
is
why
great.
that's what just for the record, that's a 50-50 thing. It's like that's why we knew it would work because you guys are amazing, and so you can see it just like you guys can when you have guests on. You know it. You've done it long enough where you're like they can hang, they can do this,
Yeah.
and it's like it's unbelievable because what we have seen, and I'm not going to call out any names, but we've seen people with giant digital followings who we bring on live streams and stuff like that, and they bomb. And it's a different skill. You
Yes.
guys have this skill that you've honed for years on Elvis and here. And like, I don't know, a lot of them are just used to their hands and pants or like a quick
Yeah.
clip or
Hands
an
and
edited
pants is
thing
gonna
or
be my
whatever it
new-
is. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call
Well,
it.
it's interesting. We had done, we've done, obviously, like you mentioned, we've done a lot of random cool things. We've been
Yes.
very fortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there have been a handful of times where TV producers who we work with, halfway through, if they don't know our story or where we came from, a lot of times we just seem like these Joe Schmoes they picked up off the street and said, here's a microphone. They'll ask where we came from. And the second we say radio, they all go, that makes sense. They always say everyone we work with from radio has this weird ability to just roll with it.
Huh.
And
I've
it's
had-
and
like
partly
separate of being together,
Yeah.
like doing things, talking about like TV or whatever. I have the same thing said to me. Like at Seahawks stuff, my audio engineers, it took them 3 games. They're like, what did you do before this? And I was like, oh, I used to be in radio. They're like, makes sense. You can, on the fly, when something goes wrong, no one knows because you can jump into something else. And I'm like, they're like, only radio people are like that. And I am cool. Great. Didn't know I had this skill. I'm going to add it to my resume.
Is that radio or live radio?
I think it's
live
live
radio.
It's live radio.
Live radio.
which you never used to have to say
Right.
because all
Right.
radio was live.
Right.
but-
Right.
But it's
yeah.
coming up through the Elvis school. Like we'll always
Yes.
give him, all the props in the world. And then we also got to work with a guy named Romeo, who has a nationally syndicated show called Most Requested Live with Romeo. And it's a Saturday night show, 5 hours live, the whole time. You're taking calls, you're doing you have a live stream, everything.
I love
So
that.
when you just have to roll with it for so many years, you become just like you did with Sur La Table. You get used to it. And
Yep.
you love the unknown,
Yes.
And
Yes.
similar to your experience with Sur La Table, I used to work in promotions for radio before I worked with Elvis.
Okay.
And they would send us to all the places around I mean, we went from Connecticut to South Jersey to Long Island, and we would set up these events, and I'd have to be on a microphone for 2 hours talking to strangers and trying to get them to come to our tent.
That's scary to me.
Right? So, but
I
you're
still
out
hate
there,
that.
you're live, and you've got a microphone, and you've got to make it work. You have no other choice but to make it work for 2 straight hours.
That's how you build that muscle. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the
Yeah.
same thing I was talking about when I was cooking and blowing up the kitchen. It's like there's so many cringe moments in there, I bet, for you.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, how else do you build it? That's how you build it.
Can I tell you the worst live event I did?
Yes.
It was, I think,
Then I've got one. Yeah.
it was my maybe 3rd event that we
Okay.
did. And at the time, we would work with a lot of clients, and if they had a grand opening, they would send the street team to go play music and be on the microphone outside of the grand opening. And I believe it was Sports Authority. And it was my 3rd event. They sent us out there. Turns out, and you've been in New York enough, when you see the giant rat,
Oh, bad news.
it means
Yeah.
they built that place without union labor.
Yep.
And then the union comes and they protest
Yep.
in front of it. So they built this Sports Authority in Queens without union labor.
Oh God.
So the protesters were out there and they had the giant rat. And the second we pulled up, I saw the rat and I went, that's not good. And they were, every time we opened the mic, they were booing us. They were chanting. It was the station at the time was 103.5 KTU.
How old are you at this?
21. Literally 21 years
Wait,
old.
this is
And
the
these
best.
grown men are going, shame on you, KTU, shame on you. Like 50 of them.
Did you have your long hair at this point?
I did have long hair.
Well, that's a plus.
And
Yeah.
it was me and
Need
my
some
coworker Viviana. It was just the two of us by ourselves with
God.
50 union workers screaming at us.
What?
It got to a point. My favorite part, though, was we get to a point where they're kind of calmed down. We're an hour and a half into this. And one of the guys had the balls to come up and ask me to play a song for him in the live event. And I went, sir, you've been booing me for 90 minutes. Get out of here. And
I
then
love it.
they took us inside because eventually the store manager said, okay, this is ridiculous. Let's just bring you inside.
Yeah.
We came back out. They had slashed our tires and thrown a bunch of garbage in the truck. They like picked
horrific.
It was wild. It was my third event. And I from that moment on, I was like, well, it can't. Hopefully it can't get worse.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if I would've gone
think so.
back.
You know what's interesting?
But
is,
you
like,
learn.
You do learn. And what's interesting is like I hear all these podcasts now with actors. Like I listen to Smartless and whatever. Love Smartless. And
Did you watch the document or the series that
yeah,
is?
so good. And what they do looks like what you just said is scary to me, but I could do it. Like I could get in front of like even a booing one and like live and roll with
Yeah.
them. Being someone else, like crying or whatever, insane. And to them, like doing what we do,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And that's a small intricacy that I think people who are not on camera or who don't do media don't understand is that like I could never act like I'm so insecure about that. I could never put me on a stage. Never like I want to be me, but they don't want to be that.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they want to be.
Well,
Someone
they can
else.
get lost in it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a interesting way to look at it. I do have some pointers for those guys sometimes when it comes
For
to
the
their
smartless
interviews.
guys?
For
Like-
what? Tell me.
Well, they just like they complain about having to prep for their interviews, and I'm like, first of all, hire someone. The three of you can
You're
afford
millionaires.
It. Hi, I'll do it. I will do it. And they're like, yeah, I got my note cards or whatever. And Jason Bateman does need to reel it in with his long ass questions.
They're like 20 minutes, and it's literally.
And they make fun of him for. I mean, as a listener, I do love it. Like I love that show, and it does like let me escape and like laugh at them and with them. And the documentary I binged it so hard. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to go watch it again because
It's
it was
so
just
good.
They're so like their personalities are so different.
Yeah.
And when you put them together, oh, it's so good.
It's
I have-
so interesting.
Yeah.
I want to go back to cooking for a second, mainly
Okay.
because we just had someone jump into our chat who's very dear to me. It's my
Okay.
cousin Michelle,
Oh, hey,
who
Michelle.
happens to be a chef in Montreal. Just opened her own place.
Wow.
What advice, as a seasoned chef, seasoning, right?
Get it.
I like how you did that. Yeah.
Would you give to a chef who just started her own brick and mortar place?
That's a really good question. I mean, again, I kind of got out of that game and into media early, but I've always thought about it. I always, of course, like just, whatever, what would be. I think most brick and mortar places just see themselves as serving food. And I think you need to see yourself as serving other things. And when I mean other things, I mean like education. You need to serve as partnerships. You need to serve as an event space. You need to be open to using what you have in more than just putting food on a plate.
It's a community.
Beyond, like having you guys come host there. Like restaurants right now, in order for them to survive, because I can order pretty much anything to be delivered to me and not go out, there needs to be a reason to come to you. And so think beyond food and think about how you can surround the food with the experience. And before it was like, well, let's put up really nice drapes. Or let's like get these really cool chairs. And I'm saying we have to kind of think a level further. And I'm not saying it needs to be like a show, but like, yeah, and like definitely from a social standpoint, like you need to be out there, like you need to be offering education. Like show us your knife tips, show us your new recipe, show us something. But again, don't just be a chef in the back of a house. It's not the time to do that. That would be
Makes
bad.
sense.
Is that
Advice.
a bad advice?
No.
No, and that advice also can be used for so many different disciplines,
Every business.
Yeah.
right? Because it's very rarely what you do. It's oftentimes how you make people feel
Yep.
that that's what you're selling.
Well, let's talk about Sur La Table, my first spot. They could have been a kitchen store, but they put a teaching kitchen in it. And that's what people came to them not to buy. They came to them to learn.
Yeah.
That's huge, right? done. Like Aloe, right? The or Lululemon. They
Yeah.
have like yoga
They have,
classes.
Yes.
it's smart.
Right? Smart. Like they're not just selling yoga pants like everybody else. There's a reason why you visit Lululemon once a week because you have your yoga class.
Yeah.
Restaurants need to think like that.
And going back to season 2
Yeah.
Of Homemade Love.
of Homemade Live.
Which you're both coming to.
Oh,
I'll,
what?
I'll go to every taping.
like
Are you in for real? You guys
watching, or what are we doing?
Oh, you want to get back on stage? I like it. I like
No,
it. I
I
like
was-
it.
listen.
I like it. Carla Burley will take
No,
any.
I am the fluffer.
Okay, you can't just
Yeah,
yell
you
that
can't yell
out of
that.
context.
You can't yell that. The audience,
Audience
fluffer.
fluffer.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if that makes it better out
It
of
doesn't.
context.
That made it worse.
The audience comedian. No, I'm kidding. I'm not funny, but
When have you started filming?
No, it's all live to tape.
Or have you started, not filming, I'm sorry, getting ready for the season?
Yeah,
not filming.
dude.
Okay.
Oh my God. If you guys came into the studio, it looks completely different.
Ooh.
So June 25th through the 29th. I don't want to date this
No, you're fine.
episode. Okay.
2024.
So that's in a couple of weeks from now. Yeah, it's 5 days in a row. We do 2 episodes in a day.
so but you need people to sign up to come to the audience.
Yes. So if anyone is in the Seattle area
Yeah.
those days, 25th through 29th, we'll give you guys a link, but there's a way to sign up.
Well, we can.
And
Okay, yeah, we can
would
share it
love
on socials and our email later.
Yeah. And it is, being in the audience is really fun.
It is.
And you get to meet the celebs, you get to taste a little food, you get to mingle, it's hang out with me, maybe see Carla Marie and Anthony in the crowd if they show up.
Yes.
You're not
Well-
going to ghost me. You're going to ghost me?
No, we'll be there.
For real?
Yeah, we'll
okay,
be there.
we'll send you the info.
And the cool thing about that is we've been to different TV sets and even TV sets that have a live audience. Yours is so much more, it's so much closer
Yeah.
than what we've seen in the past. And obviously there are probably going to be differences from last year to this year.
You mean audience proximity to
Yes.
Yeah, and the feel is different. It does feel like we're at your living room.
That's cool.
It
That's
really
what we
does.
tried. That's like, again, I'm loving this perspective.
Yeah.
from-
Yeah, no, for sure. So I was in the audience at the Chew,
yeah.
but I was at the table where you did get to try the food.
Nice.
But you were so far away from it. I mean,
Right. It's a huge soundstage. Yeah.
but it's true. Like the vibe of just getting to be physically closer does make a difference.
I love it.
Yeah.
So can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Sure.
So like, what's next for you guys? Like,
It's a great question.
yeah, give me the update.
So the update for us is there are, and you know this as like an independent kind of creator, there are always meetings and calls and interest from different places.
Yes.
We are in a position now, very thankfully, through kind of this consistency and the community that we have, where there are some people who are interested in taking what we've built on our own for the past 4 years and putting it on more traditional platforms.
What do you mean?
Like maybe going back to radio with like a syndicated show or in
Whoa,
different
that'd be
markets and
kinda
stuff. But it's really just waiting for the right
Yeah.
plan and the right partner, right? Because not every partner is a great partner. I had to learn that in my 20s.
Yeah.
But,
Is that interesting to like? I'm curious in just the radio podcast thing. Like, so to me that's equivalent to like a YouTube show and a PBS
yeah.
show. Like TV is radio, and we're both digital.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is that right? Is that a
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
Okay. So is that interesting to like that? Like, it's still the holy grail. Like, radio is still like the thing that you guys want. TV is still the thing I want, even though both of those things are kind of disrupted.
They are, and I think if you do it right, I think first off, there's consistency there, right? There's financial consistency too. There's
True.
financial security there. And that's why I say we're looking for the right partners, because not every radio station or radio company is going to let us do things the way that we want to do them.
I think my big picture dream would be something like this, but live on Netflix in the mornings. Because I think that is what they're lacking when it comes to them trying to do these live things that they're doing. But why not get people to start their day every morning with Netflix? No one's doing
Yeah.
that. Unless you have a kid and you're putting them in front of there to watch whatever cartoons they have.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee that no one is streaming Netflix in the morning. But why not take streamers who do morning shows
Yes.
already and compete with these TV morning shows that are losing an audience because there are no younger people watching?
Do you know what's
those
interesting
shows.
about that? Okay, so we had interest from, I'm not going to say who, but a big platform to take Homemade Live. And I talked to so many people about this. I'm like, should we? Whatever. And The answer for me was no. And by the way, they've tried, like Amazon has tried to bring Mr. Beast's audience to Amazon. And he's got a gazillion audience, right? The biggest audience on the internet. Doesn't translate.
Yeah.
So the reality is that people who are watching Netflix are not the people who are listening to streaming. And people who are listening to streaming are not the people that are necessarily watching Netflix. And so it's finding the overlaps and like the Venn diagram.
Yeah.
But like even the streamers is like much older than you think. Like PBS, like where I mean, it is old. Like, and like, do you know the average age? I just heard this. People watching MSNBC. This is gonna blow your minds.
MSNBC,
Like just MSNBC, CNN.
45 to 50.
Yeah.
45 to 50.
That's what I would say. Same thing. 50s.
Yeah, 81.
Get out of here.
81. That means there's 96 year. The average is 81.
81. That's wild.
So my point is that like, is that like TV as we know it is just so changing, you know. And what you guys are doing is that's it. That's the frontier.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they work together.
I don't know
think,
either.
and what we're very protective of, and I'm sure you are protective of this as well, because when you're on your own, what you have as a creator is your community. Yeah. It's the people that support you, right? So one of the things that we're very protective of is we are still always going to have a way, no matter what we do next, to bring our community with us, right? So there's always going to be a live element to what we do. There's always going to be this back and forth, this one-to-one interaction with everything we do. And it's one of the only reasons that radio is still relevant, because you don't really have that on any TV show. No. It's actually one of the reasons you're a sports guy. Yeah. The Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, I study that show.
It's one of the reasons that show does so well is it's a community on air. And they interact socially, and they have callers. They do all the things that a good radio station
But it wouldn't work on ESPN.
No,
I know they re-air it on ESPN, but like it goes live for 4 hours for a reason. And there's a reason why none of their anchors can do what he does.
Exactly.
It's a different thing. Yep. It's just a different thing.
And he built it on his own beforehand.
Yeah.
I study it because it's exactly homemade live. Like it's exactly the same thing in my mind. But I want to be more live like you guys. My dream is to do what you guys do as a daily show. But with the live studio audience, it is a huge lift.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like game
If we had a live studio audience in here every day, that would be insane.
You'd have to have a fluffer on command.
All the time.
All the time.
Isn't it a dream?
Okay. Two things I did want to get to because I want people to know about them.
Yeah.
Is I saw you posted an article from GeekWire.
Yeah.
And I checked it out.
Yeah.
So culinary medicine, explain what this
have you ever
is.
heard that term,
No.
culinary medicine? Okay. You just had a procedure. I struggle with a lot of different gastro things. So imagine a world where you're at the doctor's and they say, you have diabetes or you have heart failure and whatever. It's scary. And they're like, here's medication. Mm-hmm. What if instead of prescribing medication, they prescribed cooking classes? You know, we, way more than half the Americans are obese. 4 out of 10 people have diabetes. The biggest killer in America is not alcohol. It's obesity and stroke. So the thing that I want to point, and we're raising millions of dollars to do, is saying we're really good at building community around cooking. I wonder if we can be like the Peloton of healthy cooking. I wonder if you can say, hey, I'm about to have a baby and I really want it to go well. So I need to know what to eat. So you log on to Homemade Health, which is kind of a new thing we're building, and you can learn how to cook so that your baby is smooth, right? And it's like same thing, like you're going to go to a hip joint. People don't realize that when you eat really well going in and when you eat really well going out, you recover a lot faster.
Yeah, so I haven't been drinking.
This is what I'm saying.
So don't drink because your body will recover faster. Yep. Don't have inflammatory foods.
Yes.
Same thing. Any of that. And
I love this.
A lot of it was like stuff I would get from different people who have been through this.
Yes.
But there really isn't. I was like, what do I eat? And there's no like.
Yes. They'll give you a couple pamphlets. It's like from the 80s. It's like, I just literally went to the gastro doctor yesterday and they're like, eat more fiber. Here are some recipes. And I'm like, do you know who I am? Like, but it was like, they look like they were printouts from like 2021.
Yeah.
Or 20, you know. And so bottom line is there's no dated way. There's no entertaining way. It's scary.
Yeah.
And like, we want to make an entertaining place where you can really eat really healthy. So
especially if you just got bad medical news, you don't want to get more scared. You want someone who's going to make you feel like there is some hope and
a community. And a community. So imagine that like you're about to have a baby and you're scared because you've never been through that experience. But there's like 400 other moms who are in this live stream with you who ask questions. Is anyone else scared about this?
Yeah.
I can't do milk. Can you do this? That's what we need.
Yeah.
So that's what we're building.
I love that. My
That's
brother
amazing.
had a heart scare last year, and now he's completely transformed his diet.
Yeah.
But he's been doing so much research, trying to find like a chef that he can just pay to cook for him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's almost like hitting a lot of dead ends, but he's doing a lot. He's sat down with a nutritionist who's actually Anthony's cousin, and he's gone through like, but he is extensively going out of his way, paying out of pocket to do a lot of this. And
That's
it's
my
not
point. You're
easy.
so motivated.
Yeah.
It's not like just come watch my cooking show. It's like I'm gonna die if I
Right.
don't fix this in
Right.
6 months. Like show me a cooking show. So it feels like more of a medicine
Indeed,
versus
yeah.
like
I
a
love
vitamin.
that.
I love it.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
support.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's this?
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, there are a bunch of people that are going to want to follow you, obviously, and
I
see
love
all
it.
the cool things you do.
Yes.
So where can people find you? Where is the one-stop shop for Joel?
Okay. One-stop shop for everything I do is definitely my Instagram at Joel Gamoran. But you should go check out homadecooking.com. That's our platform. It's free. And if you want to cook with me live or any one of our chefs, you're going to have a blast.
And what is your schedule for people who don't know?
We go live about 2 to 3 times a week, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then the show will air on PBS in your local neighborhood, wherever you are across the country, October through forever.
That was one of the tough things for us trying to tell people to watch a show. We're like, well, you can
know.
maybe watch it if you're on Alaska
Dude,
Airlines flight.
PBS is so, I love
Oh,
you,
yeah.
love you, PBS.
No,
They're
it's up
great.
to the local station
Yes, to pick it up.
to
Yeah.
say when they're going to air it. So when you aren't just in one city,
Dude,
it's hard to say.
yeah, my like grandparents and parents are like, hey, when's it on? And I'm like, I don't know.
Who
Where do you
knows?
live?
Good luck. Good luck.
We had an old coworker reach out and be like, I was on Alaska Airlines and I watched. So we're flying Alaska on Wednesday. I can't wait. I'm going to get video of us watching ourselves on an airplane, which
Yes.
is like truly a dream.
You
of
guys
mine.
are on it. Yeah, we did this amazing deal with Alaska. They were like, we need content. We're like, we have content. And they made it in front of the paywall. So like you could just kick back, 35,000 miles up and watch a little cooking. Watch Carla and Marie talk about their old recipes.
Yeah,
that they-
yeah.
And we got to hang out with Grandma.
Your grandma, yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was a special episode.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here.
This is a
Appreciate
special
you.
episode. Thanks for inviting
It
me.
is.
No, are you kidding
And thanks
me?
for including me.
Let's make sure we do more of this stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to. And I want to. There's a lot I want to learn and poke your brains about. So, and thank you to the whole community. This is awesome.
Same. You're coming over to make dinner, though, so don't forget.
Not with the cats, but yeah.
We'll go over.
Okay.
Avoid the cats.
See you, everybody.